Hey, hi everyone. Welcome, welcome. Happy you're here. Welcome, Diane. Happy to see you here. Gonna wait a little moment to see who else gonna pop in, and then we can start with the questions for the two Q&A of my health journey. And also, if you stay till the end, I'm gonna do a little announcement, so be sure to stick around for that. Hi, hi, hi. How are you doing? I wanted to tell you that I just came back from a long weekend. I have a wedding on this weekend. Yeah, I hear you. Ah, perfecto, gracias. Thank you. Thank you, Diane. Had such a long weekend. Uh, in a different town, I went to a wedding. It's the whole thing, so I have more ideas that I want to share with you. What I do, like on trips when I travel, like what do I do with Carnivore? What do I eat? So I made a few pictures and videos here and there, so I can tell you about that soon. You wanna hear about that? You wanna know more about what I do when I travel? I think it's very interesting because that's something I kind of had to improvise. Like I didn't really look into anyone on internet, like what do they do when they travel. And yeah, I think that would be interesting topic for future videos and lives. And I think gonna just start right away with some questions so we can start going. And if anyone comes in, they can just jump in. Says, what exactly did you eat in a typical day? Oh, wait a second. If I'm not wrong, these are questions from the first one. Yeah. This question for the second part is what was happening with your hormones before you made dietary changes? Oh, my hormones were like a complete wreck. It was for years, like completely crazy since I was like 9 years old. I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism and I was put into medication. I never liked to take my medication, so that was like a whole different thing. And for many years, I knew I was supposed to take like thyroxine hormone to aid my hypothyroidism, my thyroid to function well. But sometimes I did it, sometimes I did not. And I got period, and it was very. The beginning was like I don't know, like I guess normal, but as years went by, it was awful. It was very painful. Like some days I couldn't go to school, or if I go to school, I was picked up earlier because it was so bad. My skin was always, I had acne. It was always a mess. It was really annoying for me to see my skin like that. So I didn't like it. Um, the also my cycles were like super long. Like, in my opinion, they were like super long, and then never really knew when they're going to come. That Yeah, and for years I was just like dealing with it when I went to the doctor. They would say like, "Oh, well, yeah, that's normal. Cramps are normal. That's between like the 35 days. It's normal. I have like long cycles or stuff like that." I was like, "Okay, just dismiss those kind of stuff." And then a friend of mine, when I was like institute, like studying acting and filmmaking, she said that maybe I can maybe I had PCOS and that I should get that check in. So I went and I got checked for PCOS, and apparently I had PCOS. So that was the diagnose, and that's when the doctors put me in a new medication. So I started doing contraceptives and metformin for PCOS, and I kind of became dependent on those because yeah, with those pills, my skin cleared up, the acne cleared up. I no longer had any painful periods, and of course, it was 28 long period because it was 28 or 21 pills and 1 week to rest from the pills. But that's when I will have like a period, but it was not a real period. So I started taking those medications, and for like 5 years, it wasn't those. but I had no idea whatsoever of the harm that those medications doing to my body. And funny enough, the contraceptive pills actually cure me from hypothyroidism. Um, I don't remember well how the physiology and mechanics of these two works, but when they help with my sex hormones, they kind of help regulate my hypothyroidism, so my levels stabilize. So that was kind of some of the advantages, but the downsides are really not worth it for it to do. So when I find out about carnivore, um, that's when everything changed for me. That's what takes me to the next question. It says, did you lose your period and how long did it take to come back? I would say yes. I did indeed lose my period. But I would like to count it from before when I dropped the pills. Because when I was on the pills, I didn't have a real period. It was like just like uh as far as I understand, like bleeding from the drop in hormones when you are in the rest period time. So I needed my period for like first 5 years of being on the pill, and then like 6 months after I dropped the pills, and then after 6 months doing carnivore, my period finally came back, and I was so happy. I was so glad, but still, it was like very like irregular and stuff, and like kind of regular. So and I started doing a little bit more animal based. That's how I started transitioning from pure strict carnivore to a little bit more of a animal based approach. And I'm still tapping into those two for different seasons on my period, and like trying to time it from what I've learned from this doctor, Mindy Pelz, that says that different amount of carbohydrates during the summer, like the very beginning is you should do like more keto and like low carb, then a little bit of carb when your like hormones like start rising, and then they dip, so you go back to keto, and then when you're after ovulation, you also again need to like rise your carbs again, so that your body produce progesterone for your next period to happen. So I have been experimenting with those things. I'm moving like from carnivore to animal based, including some fruit and honey and raw dairy to that aid that process. I wouldn't say that I have found it to be that smooth. To be frank with you, it's way more easier just to stay strict carnivore and that's it. But sometimes when I go like very strict carnivore and I'm not like having enough food, that's when my period will like either be very uh, little or maybe take like jump a period. But I still am like working on that, but I'm super glad that my period came back after dropping the pills and all the implications that having contraceptive pills um changed in the body. Because if I understand the contraceptive pills syndrome, I'm probably not saying it well, is that women that drop the pill and they're trying to like conceive, and they find out that they had don't have any period, that their period doesn't come back, and that hormones are wrecked, and now they're dealing with infertility from using the pill, and maybe they drop the pill because they wanted to have kids and now they can't. And I've heard many cases in which carnivore and animal based have helped those women to conceive and be fertile again. In my experience, it helped me to have my period again. um, I'm doing something that's called Cradle Model to see if I'm fertile or not. So I'm still like, I'm not 100% sure if I'm fertile, if I'm ovulating, but we'll see. I'm gonna update you on that. Next it says, what role do you think animal foods play in your hormones? So I think, oh, like a big thing of animal foods for my hormones, because like our bodies are made of protein. So to make hormones, in fact, you need protein and fat to make hormones and to keep a healthy metabolism. So when I was like vegetarian and eating processed food and stuff, like I was giving my body like a lot of energy, but I was not giving it the right nutrients for it to thrive. So I was not starving, but I was malnourished. So I didn't have nutrition in my body for my body to thrive and do things like regulate my hormones or have my period or grow my hair or my nails or stuff like that. And transitioning to like prioritizing protein, give my body the space and nutrients for it to start relaxing, getting out of survival, and start producing important hormones. And the high levels of fat also aid with hormones and saturated fat, like the fat that tell you that is bad. That's the kind that use free hormones, and cholesterol is so essential for sex hormones, which are made of like cholesterol, like steroids is cholesterol, and like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, all of those need uh, good fats for it to be produced, like fat from animal sources like beef and butter and those kind of things. Meanwhile, things like vegetables and seed oils, your body doesn't really know how to process those because those are not natural. So they only get stored as fat and they're very toxic and produce inflammations. So animal food had been huge for my body to actually start healing and fixing and repairing stuff that I was carrying for years of malnutrition, of being malnourished. Says, did you notice any changes in skin, hair, or mood? Oh yeah, it was day and night. Like my skin was perfect. Like if I ever tried to change my medication when I was on the pill to one that didn't have like those two hormones, if I'm not wrong, is progesterone and estrogen. If I ever went to a different brand or something like that, my skin would like immediately flare up and be like an ultra mess, like horrible. And like if I didn't take the medication, it was immediately that I was like symptoms and stuff. And so I was very dependent on the pills for my skin to be good, to look good. So that part improved hugely. Like, it went, it was, it is amazing. It is amazing to say how great my skin is after like more than a year, like a year and a half, maybe a year and 8 months of not having any kind of medication of any kind, no medication of any kind. So my skin is the biggest, most important thing that I noticed that have helped me, and the most I care the most, the one that I care the most. My hair, I feel like my hair is a whole different story. I did experience hair loss at the very beginning, because when you change like diets, your body enters in like the stress mode. So I lost a lot of hair, but I also feel like it was like vegetarian hair. Like hair that was that I had when I was vegetarian, and now the hair that is growing now in my head, I feel it's stronger, and I no longer use like shampoos or chemicals or stuff in my hair. And I noticed that the more I keep it natural, uh, I don't have, it doesn't tangle. I don't have like split ends. So that is huge for my hair. I should do like a different period on just on my, because it's complicated. My mood, oh, it was amazing. The change of my mood, oh, is so big because when I was on the pills, I think I said in my last video, it was like numb. I was like completely numb from world and from my life. I feel like it can mask my emotions. I don't even know how to describe it, but when I was actually taking the pills, like I wouldn't feel sad, or angry. Like things will bother me, but no, I don't know, be outrageous or something would be nice, but I wouldn't be like full of joy or bliss or anything like that. And maybe just when I drop for the rest week, I was like had like this crazy bunch of emotions coming up, and be like, what is this? Like, what is going on? What's happening? And I notice now that I'm out of it, that it will last for a few days, and then when I start pills again, it will take a few days for the pills to like kick in again, and then lose my emotions. And after I drop the pills and start doing strict carnivore, I noticed like my mood stabilized so much, and I had access to emotions that I didn't have before. Like doing carnivore is what actually helped me start doing my inner work and process things that otherwise would have kept buried for this long of a time. So, in my opinion, doing carnivore is the missing key that actually activate my inner work in a whole different level, in a whole new way that I've never experienced before. So my mood definitely improved a lot with carnivore and animal based. Says, what advice do you have for women who are afraid to eat more fat or protein? Not to be afraid. Never be afraid of those two. We are taught so much to be afraid of like fat and always eating your chicken or your fish, your tuna with a bunch of greens. First, I don't understand that because I don't like vegetables. So why do you want to eat greens? I've heard there's people telling me, "Oh, I like vegetables," and I'm like, "Oh, really?" Because your body evolved to consider them disgusting. So I don't know how do you like it. Okay. Do you like actually the seasonings you put in your vegetables? I feel it's more like that. I feel that people actually like the seasoning they put on the vegetables, and then say they like the vegetables. um, so don't feel the fat because, as I said before, your hormones need fat and cholesterol to be produced and regulate, and you need fat for energy. It's a very clean energy. It's way more clean than carbohydrates to use fat from your body. And protein, I don't know if I ever heard people being afraid. Actually, yes. In my nutrition class in college, they would be like, "Oh no, people tend to eat too much protein." And I'm like, that doesn't sound true." From what I'm experiencing here in the community of carnivore, people eat extremely low amounts of protein. Like what people recommend is 1 gram of protein for ideal body weight. For example, for me, my ideal body weight, I don't even know if that's like an accurate measurement nowadays. It's at least 120 pounds. And so I try to eat at least 120 pounds, at least 120 grams of protein a day. And that is actually very little. I end up always eating more, like 150 or 160. But I don't think it's something to fear, protein, because even if you have like tons of protein, your body will use those to repair your muscle. And if you train, even better, then even better to have high amounts of protein, which I will never, the thing I will never recommend is having like ton of protein in low fat, because I said in the previous video, like carbs and fats are your fuel for your body. So if you take down all the carbs in a carnivore diet, but also you go too lean and take out the fat, then your body will not have energy and it's gonna go into survival, and it's gonna be in stress, it's not going to lose weight, it's not going to even metabolize the fat you have in your body because uh it doesn't feel safe to do that. Like, oh no, I have to keep this fat because we are not eating enough food. So what happens if we have no food at all? I'm not going to let go of these fats. So it's actually hijacking your chances to weight loss. So definitely do not be afraid of fat or protein. And I have a book, I don't have it with me now, called The Big Fat Lie. I'm going to try to remember to put in the description on the video, that talks about how we've been lied about how uh, which fats are dangerous and which are not. So it's highly recommended, and I will try to remove those here. Do you ever feel guilty or scared about eating this way? No, That's the short answer. No, I don't feel guilty. I don't feel scared. I feel it's delicious. Yeah, at the beginning, I was so excited to start eating this way because what they tell is just eat as much as you want, and that is something I always want to do. So that's what I was told. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. That sounds delicious. That sounds like something I can definitely do. Eat as much as I want, as long as it's animal product. Okay, definitely can do that. Sign me in, please. Thank you. Um, no, I never felt guilty. I felt a little bit uncomfortable because, as I mentioned in the previous video, that I live with a host family and they eat very vegetarian lifestyle of way of eating. So there's no meat in the house. It was not meat in the house. So I felt uncomfortable, like bringing in meat in a space that is like not meat friendly. So on that sense, I just didn't want to be disrespectful of a different house. Yet we all adapt and grow into like a routine that works for us. And I'm so very grateful for that because I don't have to like hide or be um ashamed of the way I eat. I actually feel very proud, and when people ask me, I have tons and tons of things to say. So please, if you ever see me in the street, ask me. I will be happy to tell. How do you handle social pressure and judgment? There's something that I don't care. Just don't care. I actually seek for people that doesn't like it and rebuke and go with like, well, it's actually for this and this and this reason. But I try not to be confrontational. Like I said, I love talking about this. So when people is like, but what about your cholesterol and this and that, or like, but I usually don't want like some fried chicken or stuff like that because I don't eat processed foods. Like I don't eat fried chicken. I just eat like grilled chicken. You know? Um, and people will look at you weird, but I'm kind of used to that because when I was vegetarian, I was weird because I was vegetarian. Would be like, oh no, I don't eat this or that, and I would just eat the sides. And I was kind of the opposite. I would just get like instead of just eating the sides, I would eat the main thing, would eat, like the meat and the chicken and whatever, and leave the sides alone. And it's so funny in restaurants. I love when people ask me, like when the waiter asks me in the restaurant, like, "What do you want for a side?" And I said, "Oh no, nothing, thank you, just the steak." And they're like, "But it costs the same." And it's like, "Yes, I know. Just give me the steak." And like, "Well, are you sure?" Like, "Yeah, I'm sure. Just want the steak. Thank you, thank you." What mindset should help you the most? The freedom. How much freedom it is to be like, as long as you're eating something that is not poisonous, eat as much as you want. People think that is like super restrictive. I feel it's so liberating. I don't know. That's how I feel it is. Because it's like it gives you a framework or like things that um are beneficial for you. And so it's like, okay, from all those things that are actually good for you, for your health, for your body, just eat as many as you want of those. So people think it's restrictive because you cannot eat the things that are dangerous and toxic for your body. And that's the part with I don't understand. I don't know. Because how can that be a restriction? Like if for my own choice I'm choosing not to eat something bad, is that a restriction? Like, mm. So I guess that's main thing that helped me to stay, let's say, compliant to this way of eating till this day is that I don't feel I have to worry for calories or counting or weighting food, stuff like that. Unless you wanted to. many times I do like track my calories and track my grams of protein and things because I love to experiment and try like what happens if I do this or what happens if I add this kind of food or what happen if instead of eating like this way I start eating like these other foods and see like for that I need data. For that I need to know like how much I was doing because it's not the same like eating like 150 grams of protein of just like ground beef having like ground 150 grams of protein that it comes from ground beef and dairy and then the calories I will also have like fruits and honey and like all those different variants things that is really helpful to track those things if you want to like start tapping and experimenting, but I don't really recommend that at the very beginning. At the very beginning is like get used to like being well fed and nourished and having freedom and having self-confidence, like grow into knowing your body and trusting your body that you are safe to eat. Because when you're eating what they call in the internet like a proper human diet, you start trusting your body more and you come out of survival and you kind of can start having back some ownership of your body and autonomy. So yes, it's very important. Just eat as much as you want, but of the right foods. Says, what did you learn affect your relationship with your body? That's the way. That's the way it changed because it made me super aware of what I was eating and how different foods affect my body in so much. Like it gave me so much clarity of how my body works, how something so essential as uh, the way we eat changes everything. Every single thing in our bodies can be changed and modified with food because those are the building blocks, the materials you're giving your body to create. It's like your body is a 3D printer. It is 100% like a 3D printer, but you need to put the uh, printer food. You need to put like the material in the printer for it to work. And if you put like uh, white paper on a 3D printer, it's not going to work the same, you know? But if you give your body, your printer, the right materials to work with, the things that you can do with your body are amazing. And the how forgiving and smart the body is, the people can live up to 70, 80 years without an ideal diet. It's like how forgiving the body is. Like you don't need to be even 150% perfect. But as long as you're striving for keeping it as healthy as you can, as close to 100 as you can, your body's going to thrive like this. It's going to adapt this to come, to improve, to heal, to grow, to thrive. The moment you start giving the materials, your body catch up really quick. And the moment you start intoxicating your body, it start healing so fast. That is like crazy how fast your body start healing when you get it out of the toxic environment and start giving it the right tools to heal. It's amazing what God did with this piece of machinery that the body is. So yes, this journey made me so much aware of my body, of my spirituality in a different level of a connection. I can see the patterns. Now I can see like the different seasons of my period as a woman. I can see different energy levels, how food affects my mood, my sleep, my skin, my nails, everything that it's related. And I can see like what did it change this week that I felt different. Or what was different this week from the past? What improved? What changed? What didn't work well? And it gives you so much, as I say, authority, autonomy, and I don't think that's the word I'm looking for, of knowing what to do with your own self. Because if you just do what someone else tells you you should be doing, you don't really, you go blind and you try to do it. And from mere faith, it might work for a little bit, But on the long run, you might not see the results that you want because you don't really know yourself. You're just doing what something else, someone else told you to do, and that is just going to take you so far. So the more you discover your body, you start to trusting and listening to what's going on, the empower I think you become on making the right choices that work for you. It gives you like I don't do like carnivore as a dogma of like, oh, I have to do it perfectly, or it doesn't work. I have to do what this book and this other book and this other book said. It gave me so much um tools and information and knowledge and wisdom now that I can now choose and decide what I want to do with my body, and also made me so much curious. I guess that's just a trait on me of being like, what will happen if I start doing this and this other thing, and try to like search the research and see like what does the research says about this food, or what does the research says about this and this combination of things, and then I will try them on myself and experiment and see if it works for me. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. And then it's like totally fine because I'm um I'm the one doing those things and not getting to know myself, and not just following what the doctor said or what the book said or what the newest magazine diet blog said and stuff. So when people ask me like how long are you gonna do this? It's like I cannot quit doing conscious choices on my food and drink and lifestyle. So I guess forever. See, last one, it says, do you do any spiritual practice or self reflection while changing your diet? I do now. At the very beginning, I did not because I was just starting. So it was definitely something I felt from the beginning that it was sent by God. That I was so grateful to God for putting this in my field and me learning about it, because I feel it was the answer to many prayers about healing my body and my soul and my mind and trauma and everything that was going on with myself back then. So from the very beginning, this was definitely part of my spiritual and self improvement journey and my inner work. Like it was the basic foundation of it. That it was like the yoga mat I needed for me to start my practice of yoga and inner work, because without it, even if I tried meditate and yoga, and yes, it had like some effect, but it was not clicking. The moment I changed my habits, my lifestyle, my eating habits, that's when everything clicked and everything started falling like on place, like pieces on a puzzle, like all the domino pieces on a row, started falling one after the other, and then everything was making sense in that moment. So I think it's a very important foundation to become more aware of yourself, of your spirituality, to have a proper, proper diet. Okay. um, Now if I'm going to like make any changes or stuff, I like to journal about it and ask God, like if He has any advice or information or something that he wants to send me, and I remain open to listen to whatever the message is. And I would pray about it, and then I would just go with whatever feels the best at that moment, the decision that feels the best in that moment. So yeah, I think that's how I started like involving spirituality a little bit with my diet. And I would like to make a video on that, on like how to honor your past self, the one that used to do things different back then, and the one you are trying to embody now, that is more conscious on your health and what your body needs, and go from there. So yeah, that's the video I want to make next. And those were all the questions I have for today. um I don't see any questions or comments. coming up. So I just want to wait for a second to see if there's any other things that I can question that I can solve. If not, I think I'm just gonna move on to the announcements and I hope you can still see me. I'll just move on to the announcements in a second. And yeah, I wanted it to be like a short, part two video. Just hop in because I didn't know I was going to come in here live today, but I had a little time and I said like, you know what? I'll just jump live and see how it goes. So that was the main goal for this to like go over some questions that I didn't want on the first video and just expand it a little more. If anyone has like the same questions, they could also do it. But it was not really the plan. And I feel like I enjoy like that a bit more, like improvising, and it feels more like talking on that stage than just like making a video. Yeah. Mhm. Okay. I'm just gonna jump into what I have to say about the next time I'm gonna go live. The one I was actually thinking I wanted to do, the video I wanted to do this week is a video on alcohol and alcohol on Carnivore, like what have been my experience and if I recommend it or not. And I would love to have like people asking questions or doubts, whatever they had on the Carnivore and alcohol. So I was thinking of maybe do it on a live on this Friday. So stay tuned this Friday. Maybe on Thursday I will create the live so people can have it in their schedule. And then I'm gonna jump on Friday and talk about my experience of alcohol since I just came back from a wedding. And of course there was like a lot of um brindis. I'm not how you say that. Like people saying the speeches and cheering each other, toasts, people doing toasts for the happy couple and stuff like that. And I want to talk like how to deal with the social pressure, um, alcohol, and yes. So that's what I'm gonna be doing this Friday. So if you have any questions about that, please leave it on the comments, and I will be happy to answer those and tell you whatever um is the information I have on that topic. Not gonna lie, I have to do a little more research on that to be freshen up what I'll be talking about that day. But yeah, I'm excited. So I'll be happy to see all of you that day. And I hope you enjoy this video. Please leave a comment, please like and subscribe if these answers were at all helpful. And if you want to leave more questions, if there's anything you want me to talk about next, like anything about carnivore or animal plays or any other stuff they want me to talk about that is related to spirituality or lifestyle or any other topics that we touch in this video, please let me know. And I will do my best to do it on a future video. So thank you very much and have a good night. Yeah.